Hello and welcome to this tutorial on Introduction to Web Programming. In today's session we will be dealing with the exercise 2 where we create a tabular structure that is shown on the screen using XHTML tags. Once we design the table, we are going to use various styling properties such as aligning of the cells and providing the suitable cell padding and then cell spacing, and apply some background color and make the text to be bold and emphasis wherever it is necessary. So this is one of the tabular structure which requires the usage of some additional attributes for different sort of cells. Okay, so this is a tabular structure which represents the department and then the semesters and various subjects across those semesters. Okay, so let us try to do this using the editor. So let's go to the editor. Okay, so let us create a file, say second.html. so this is the file that I've created, .html file, in which I want to create that tabular structure. So this is the basic HTML structure that I have automatically got with the help of VS Code's feature, and now I'll be designing the tabular structure. Okay, so here we will write some title, say second experiment. Okay, and in the body let us try to design the tabular structure. Okay, so let me write a simple h2 tag initially. This is not there as part of the exercise, but let us try to write it. So here I'll write exercise 2, and then now let us try to design the table. Okay, so table opening tag and the closing tag is being added up, and inside that we should go on designing the various cells. We should go on adding the various cells that are required for the tabular structure. Okay, so let us quickly come back to our tabular structure. Okay, so here we have on the left hand side only a single cell which is representing the department, and right next to it is what we have 3 different cells in the column, and in the next column we have around 9 different cells. Okay, so this is how it is being given. Okay, so the first column is having only 1 cell, second column has 3 cells, and the third column has 9 cells. So this is how we need to design our table. Okay, so we can do it in an iterative fashion, but let us try to do it in an intuitive way, an interesting way. Okay, so let us first design the third column of the tabular structure, and then come back to the second column, and then at last we will design the first column of the table. Okay, so in HTML we explicitly don't have the concept of designing columns, but we have the concept of designing rows. We do not have the concept of columns. Okay, so let us try to create a row. Okay, simple row in which we will try to have TD, which is table data, the cell. Okay, so here let us try to add these subjects because we are trying to design the last column. Okay, so last column has 9 cells, so it means we should have 9 different rows because columns cannot be created in HTML. So we should have 9 different rows in which we will have 9 different cells. Correct, so rows have to be created here, we cannot create columns, right? So I'm just repeating the same set of rows, and then creating a cell inside of that, and then certainly changing the value associated with it. Okay, so here I have added 4 different rows. Now this is the 5th one, and then we have the 6th one, and this is the 7th one, and we have the 8th one, and the last one is this. Okay, so we have created 9 different rows in which we have single cell. Only one cell is present inside every row that we have created here. Okay, so inside of those cells we have mentioned subject 1, 2, 3, so on up to 9. Okay, so let us save this. I mean, I can directly go ahead and click on save, or I can also do Control yes. Okay, so let us try to see the result of this. Okay, so let me run this on some particular browser, let's say Google Chrome. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so you have exercise 2 as the heading, and then subject 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so typically we do not have a border across this table, so let us try to add that into our code. Okay, so let's come back to our table tag. So let us add an attribute called as border is equal to 1. Okay, border is equal to 1. Okay, so if I come back to the browser and then refresh, now I can see the border around every row, or the final column that we want is going to be visible. Okay, so this is I mean, we have created the very last column of the table, and now let us try to come back to the second cell. Okay, so how do we do that? So the last part is done, the middle part. Okay, middle part of the table we need to design. So what needs to be done here is, here we have a cell. In the second column we have 3 cells which are covering 3 cells of the third column. Okay, for example, semester 1 is covering 3 different cells of third column, and semester 2 is covering 3 cells, next 3 cells of the third column, and then the semester 3 cell is covering the last 3 cells of the third column. Okay, so it means that we have to create only one cell which is spanning across multiple rows. Okay, we need to create cells in such a fashion that it should span across 3 cells. Okay, so how do we do that? So to do this, we should add an attribute called as row span. Okay, so in the very first row that we had created earlier, where we have subject 1 as the cell, let us try to have one more cell which is TD, and then here let us try to add row span, and let's try to give the value as 3. Okay, and let us try to define it to be the content of cell to be semester 1. Okay, so if we do so, we can come back to the browser and then see the results of that. Come back and refresh, we can see the results, right? So we have the second column being created here with only one cell which is spanning across 3 cells of the third column. Okay, the same thing we should repeat, only thing is we should have now the cell in the row where we have subject 4 as the other cell. Okay, so that's where we should add one more TD and then add the row span which should span across 3 different cells. So in our first case, we have added one additional TD, we have added one additional TD here which is spanning across 3 different rows. So I need not add further more TDs in the subsequent 2 rows. Okay, so directly I'll come to the 4th row where I'll try to add another TD with row span is again equal to 3. So this time the content of the cell is semester 2. So I'll save the file, Control yes, come back to the browser and then refresh. So this is how you can see the results. So the first cell of the second column is spanning across first 3 cells of the third column. Okay, similarly the second cell of the second column is spanning across next 3 cells of the third column. Okay, the same thing we should repeat it for the 7th row of the third column, right? So I'll go to the 7th row. I'll try to create one more TD here, and then row span is equal to 3. So this time the content of the cell is semester 3. Okay. So if we do so, let us come back to the browser and then refresh. So here is what we intend to get, right? So we have semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, which is spanning across exactly 3 rows of the third column. Okay, 3 cells of the last column, or I can say third column. Okay. Now if we come back to our actual tabular structure, now we are done with the middle column and the last column. Only thing that is remaining here is the first column, where we just have one cell. Okay. So how do we do that? So here is just one cell which is spanning across all the 9 different rows that are available in the very last column. Okay. So let us come back to our code, and this time let us try to add one more TD in the very first cell. Okay. And this time let us add the row span to be equal to 9, because we want it to span across 9 different rows. Okay. So this time we will name it as department. Okay. So let us save the file, Control S, or you can also do this and then come back to the browser and then refresh. So this is what you intend to see. Okay. So we have just designed the tabular structure. Now let us try to provide some styles to this. Okay. So let us come back to the code. Okay. So let's add some of the attributes like cell padding. Okay, sorry, we need to add the cell padding and cell spacing in the table tag itself, but not in the TD tag. Sorry. Okay, so let us add the cell padding. Okay, cell padding attribute, which is going to be the distance between the content and the innermost wall. Okay. So let us try to give some value here, let's say 5. Okay, and let's also define cell spacing. Okay, cell spacing is the distance between each of the cells that we have inside the tabular structure. Okay. So let us also give it to be 5. Okay. And if we come back to the browser and then refresh, so this is how you can see the content. Okay. So is it what we need? Yeah, we need to provide certain amount of background color and then make the text to be bold and emphasize. Okay. So what we can do is, we can come back to the code. Probably we can just make this cell padding to be equal to 0 and cell spacing to be equal to 0, so that the innermost cell walls are being merged with the outermost wall of the table. Okay. So if we do so, we will come back to the browser, and then if we refresh, we can see the stuff like this. Okay. Now let us try to add some width to this particular table. So let's come back to our code and then let's add width, and let's specify some value here, say 35%. And if we come back to the browser and then refresh, so this is how the content appears. Okay. Let's try to align the contents of first column and the second column. That is what is the need for our problem statement. So we should align the content of the first column and the second column at the center of the cell. Okay. So let us try to come back to the code. So let us align the content of the cell with the help of align attribute, and let us try to provide the value as center. Okay, so align center for the first cell of the first column, or the only cell of the first column, and then the align equal to center for the cells in the second column. Okay, so let's try to repeat it for all of these cells where we have the second column. Okay, all the cells that are contributing for the middle column. Okay, so here we have provided align equal to center. Okay, so if we save this and come back to the browser and then refresh, we will be able to see the content like this. Okay, so department semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, and across all 3 semesters we are able to see the 3 different subjects. Okay, so now let us try to apply some background color to these cells. Okay, so let us add some background color for these cells. Okay, so to do that we should add the style attribute. Okay, so we can do it in multiple ways. This is one of the ways of adding the background color. So let us add the background color, and let's say aqua. Let us stick to aqua color. Okay, so if we do this and if we come back to the browser and then refresh, we can see the aqua color for the very first column. Okay, so let us try to use a different color for the second column. Let's copy down this style equal to background color, and let's go to this second cell of the first row, and this is where we will add a different color. Let's say some other color here. Let's choose a different color, say brown. Let's choose brown color. If we do so and come back to the browser, if we refresh, we can see the brown color for the first cell of the second column. Okay, so let us come back and replicate it for the other 2 cells that we have, which are contributing for the second column. Okay, so let us repeat it here. So this is for the second cell, and the same thing we will repeat it for the third cell. Okay, so if we do so and come back to the browser, refresh, you will be able to see the results. Okay, so let us also try to color the cells, all other cells of the third column, which are 9 in number. Okay, I mean the number of rows in the third column is 9. Okay, so if we come back to the browser, okay, let us try to apply it for various remaining cells that we have. Okay, so background color, this time let us choose a different one. Say let's choose something called, say, dark cyan. Okay, there is some color called as dark cyan. This we will try to use it for the last column. Okay, so if we come back to the browser and then refresh, so this is what you can see. Okay, same thing I am going to replicate it for all of the other remaining cells. Okay, so I am just going to copy this and put it in the cell, every cell that we have in every row that we have created earlier. Okay, so this is the third cell, and this is the fourth cell, and then we have this fifth one, and then this is sixth one. I'm just giving the same color, same style for all the remaining cells of the third column. Okay, so this is for the last one. Okay, so if we do so, we will be able to see the results the way we want. Okay, so if we refresh, we will be able to see the result in this fashion. Okay, I hope this has given you some idea regarding how to deal with the tables and various attributes of the tabular structure. Okay, thank you for watching.